Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Now we're trying to fix one of the last couple things for the demo, and that is inventory saving and loading. Right now we've got this this health potion that is incorrectly being loaded here. So we've got to fix that. So yesterday we started kind of debugging some of the serialization for the binary save data. So we're going to be working on trying to decode that a bit more and see what it takes to fix the save and load for the inventory system, which is proving to be much more complicated than I initially thought. Okay, so let's check out our actual save player data function. Yes, so we have this thing we added yesterday where it is we see if the file exists. And actually we do this in the load. We say get info on the save player. If the file does not exist, then let's just start a new game. We also need to change our music at this point, which is soundtrack, and we'll say that it gets set equal to Mage's Castle track. Okay. And then we should also, we can either do this here or we can do this in the init for the cinematic. I don't think it really matters, but it might make sense since we go to Mage's Castle after the opening cinematic that we also put it in the init for whatever the Mage's Castle bit is. But let's continue working on. So like we found out, we cannot store objects inside this table. We can only store key value pairs. Well, actually, we're able to save tables. We're just not able to save class objects, which our inventory is a type of. So we do this thing here where we're saying, okay, well, if there is an item in our item inventory, if there's an item equipped, then we're going to save both the type and the quantity into the save data item slot type index and the item slot quantity index. So instead of copying over the global item inventory, which is a class object of inventory, we're just taking what the thing is, which is, okay, we're just taking the equipped slot, putting it there, and then the equipped quantity and putting it into this item slot quantity. So when we go to load, we're coming in here and we say, if why do we do this? So we cycle through the table of load, which load is the, I guess, deserialization of the binary, and we cycle through, we check for the key to be equal to these certain things. But then where do we go? So here we say, see, I don't think this is right at all. Yeah. I don't think we want this item slot 1 nil. I don't think we want this, because this is just basically if the load table has an item slot type and item slot quantity, then we're gonna initialize our new. Oh, okay. Okay, this might be where something's happening here. Why do we do this? Save data, item slot type. Huh. I don't know why we're saving it to the save data object. For right now, I'm going to get rid of that because I don't think it's necessary. I don't know what we were trying to do, but let's continue on. So it's like what we're trying to do is overwrite the global item inventory item slot with the type of whatever is in. This is weird. Yeah. There's so many issues here because what renders. Let's see what renders in this global item inventory. So when we go and make this G item inventory instantiation, where we can see that it is what? Right here. It is in an item inventory. It is an inventory class object with a parameter called item. So when we do this and we say let's overwrite our global item inventory to be this item type slot item slot type, I'm looking for where we're actually saving this and what we're initting and what that kind of looks like. So we do this here in the play state. So in the play state, we initialize a global item inventory. So when we initialize this, this is like even outside of the init and everything. So I guess it comes down to when we include it in our dependencies, but we kind of like make an inventory system. And what an inventory system is, well, it's either an item or a key item. And it's got a position, a row amount. It's also got a table of rows and columns and grids and an item slot. Dude. Okay. There are a lot of issues trying to do this. Our playstate gets this inventory object. So basically, if we just overwrite its item slot with the thing that we tried to save, which is an item slot 1 now gets a dot type. Now what sucks is like item slot here, I don't think item slot is getting I think this will be nil at this point. Dude. Stream crashed. Dude, I pay too much money for this to happen, man. I swear. It's gonna roll ads again for the 3rd time in 10 minutes. It's really annoying. Okay. So I want to see how we populate this item slot, because I think this is just totally wrong. So see how we have to kind of create, oh my god. What is this? This is where we're kind of manually putting in this health potion, which probably explains why it's so jacked up. Oh, this is why we had the self. Oh man. This is why we added it to the save state, but dude, this is so wrong. We added it to the save data utility object. This is so bad. Okay, so let's turn this off, because I think what we want to do is just see how we initialize an item slot in general once we equip something. Okay, so this is what we do. God, dude, this is crazy. So our inventory class object has got a item slot field. And inside that item slot, we're putting the item class object that exists at the grid field's 2D array of row and column of the selected stuff. So what we're inserting into the item slot is an item instantiation, which explains why we had the initialization turned on with a self item quantity. Right here. So see, we're trying to say, instead of doing this here, we want to add this into the load player data function, because basically if there is a key that says item inventory slot, then we need to insert into the item slot 1 an item with whatever the type is, right? So if the type is a string, if the type is the string of this value, we should be able to say that we insert the type right here and the quantity right here. Oh my gosh, dude. Because we can't use the item slot quantity. Okay, I think what we need to do, we need to get the quantity first. Well, and I guess it just doesn't matter because it depends how it comes out of the load. But we're gonna just say that the value that's stored in the item slot quantity gets to be put. See, and we can't do this. We can't do this. We kind of have to make. How do we do this? Okay. Why is it that our item has to take in a quantity as an option? I mean, I guess if we look at the quantity, it can be quantity or nil. I guess the thing I'm looking for is like, we don't want. I'm kind of thinking that we just set it equal to nil and we take this out of the initialization and we kind of just manually set the items dot quantity to be whatever after we initialize it. I think it'll just be easier for loading and saving. But that means any item instantiation, we need to kind of go through and make sure we don't pass it an old second parameter here, because instead of saying 10 right here, we insert nothing, but then we have to go and set this particular item inventory item quantity dot quantity to be equal to 10. So anytime we make this item instantiation, we have to kind of come in and set its quantity. So it looks like we only do this one other time for the loot. And it's a nil, so we should be fine here. Let me just see if we are rendering any hiccups here. We can't even save data. 77. Okay. For right now, we'll just comment this out. Dude, why are we fucking crashing every 3 seconds? Dude. What? Wow, it is really not liking the stream tonight. All right, we're going to run ads for the 4th time in 5 minutes. Whatever, dude. If it crashes again, I'm done streaming. I'll just continue local. Okay, so we turn this off. Let's see if we load. I mean, we did load. We just tested it. Okay, so what are we trying to do? We're trying to set load. Okay, in our load player data, we're trying to say if there was an equipped item, then we save it right here. So let's try to do this. We say instead of this, instead of this quantity, we have to save. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to make sure that we make the item first. So if there is an item slot type, which I don't know how this gets pulled out, if when we save it, if it pulls a item slot type first. See, because like I guess the question is like, how does this get saved? Like, is it kind of like a sorted table by keys? I don't know. But basically, only if there is an item slot type saved do we want to check it and input its quantity. Because if there is either a type or quantity, we know we need to insert a new object into the global item inventory. So let's say if there is a type, then we're going to go ahead and create an item instantiation with the value of the type that was stored, and we're going to put it into item slot 1, and then we're going to assign the type, not the type. I don't think we want to do this. I think we just we initialize an item in that slot, and then we can go and modify the quantity of that slot to be not this quantity, but the quantity in the item slot quantity key. I don't know if that'll work at all. Let's see. Okay, well let's see, because it looked like it didn't crash. So let's try to equip something and then save and reload it. So we'll equip a loot, we'll save it, we'll quit, we'll try the game again, and we'll load. No loot equipped. Oh, it's half equipped. It's like, it's equipped on the render and on the functionality wise. It's just not showing up in our key item inventory. Oh, dude. Okay, well. Okay. I mean, that's half good. It did load the previous thing that was equipped, but We have two mistakes. One is we're not rendering in the HUD the equipped item properly. And let's address that first. So we're looking for where we render the item slot. So I don't know if that's in the HUD render. Yes, we render the item slot. Okay. The weird news was it kind of loaded the loot not even at the first grid, did it? Because I see it there, but it's not even at the first grid. Shit, dude. Okay. What is different? We've got what? We need the grid X position, or I don't even know, dude. Let's look at our item class, and we might need the X and Y. Or the equipped. We might want to just... Okay, well, we kind of had this hard-coded, so maybe let's just try to equip the item after we load it. So maybe we can say we want to just take the item that's there and equip it. Let's see. Okay, it's there. It's there. Okay. Whenever we enable loot state, we need to cease. Oh man, this is tough. Yeah, we need to stop the overworld music if you're pulling up the loot so you can play your own music, right? I'm kind of curious to see if we can equip a magic spell and if we can load it properly. So let's try that first. We're not rendering the quantity. Son of a bitch. Play state 187. Why did we crash? Why did we crash? We took out the quantity. But we do this thing now where we set the quantity right there. We insert an item of a health potion into the key item grid. First row, second column. And then we go set that item's dot quantity to 10. That's not quite right. Let's check the item inventory and see if that's right. Quantity, yeah, quantity. Oh, we might have to say this. I think we have to... Where were we just at? When we do our health potion. Yes, okay, I think I know what we need to do. Yes, once we have to go at index 1 here. That should do it. So let's see. We should have a health potion rendering. It's cool that the loot equip carries over, so that's partial success. What isn't a success is that it's still in our inventory system when it should be out. So we've got to solve that. I went in the wrong dungeon, man. We gotta go over here. We just crash? Okay, we've got the quantity. So here's the moment of truth. We're gonna equip it. Oh, see, look at this. We got double loots in there now. No. Okay. Let's see if it saves. Let's see if it saves. Because this is like an old school Pokemon glitch, clone glitch. So we have 9 health potions now. Let's try to save and reload and see if we still have the 9 potions. So we'll meditate. That should save our game. We can quit. And let's see if our 9 potions are back. Dude, why? Yo, Kavictus, what's up, dude? Dude, we've been crashing. The stream's crashed like 6 times today already, so I don't know. Yo, we've got it. Okay. And it fixed the loot loading duplication glitch, but yeah. Okay, so that's actually almost done. That's almost right. We just need, like, the fact that we can save our progress and have our item inventory reloaded is like super nice. But right now, I think in the game, I think we have 2 loots because we instantiate a loot inside the item inventory, as opposed to us only inserting it once we pull a loot out of the treasure chest in Mage's Castle at the beginning there. trying to see where we're doing that. Right here. Okay, so I think if we had a loot equipped, and then we have this in our inventory class, in our init. Okay. Yeah, see, this is wrong. Because basically we don't want to copy over... Shit, man, it's hard because... Is that it? Are you a Togepi? Togepi just yeeted me off the screen. Dude, what really bugs me is like if I crash the stream, or I won't take credit for it. If the stream just crashes, they run ads right away again. So it's like I've ran 12 minutes of ads in 15 minutes because it just crashes and then rolls ads instantly. Thank you, Cavictus. Oh. That was sweet. Okay, so... Yeah, so the hard thing with this is that we need to not just save... We need to not just save our global item inventory equipped item slot, but we need to save the status of potentially every grid in the inventory system. For now, for the demo, there's only ever a loot at 1-1 or a health potion at 1-2. So for now, it won't be that bad to just say, okay, when we save, if there's an item in grid 1-1, we're going to save whatever it is. And when we load it, if there is a key for that, we're going to load it. And same with grid 1-2. Instead of doing it here, is there something we can test? I think what I want to do is save it with the loot equipped and then turn off this insertion and see if the loot gets unequipped. Because right now, we have to kind of... Yo, Cavictus, that's all I've been doing. That's been this whole channel. I'm sure if I were to explain how the game works to anybody who makes games, they'd be like, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Okay, so I'm gonna save it with the loot equipped, and then we're gonna load it, and then we're gonna take out that one line, and we're gonna see. Yeah, I don't need like a full solution just yet. If it can work for the demo, then we're good. So I'm gonna equip the loot. I'm gonna save it. We're gonna quit. Then I'm gonna delete this loot instantiation. So what I'm hoping is that there's no loot at 1-1, and there's only a health potion at 1-2, but our loot is still equipped. So let's see if that's the case. Okay, loot's equipped. That's good. And it's not there. Oh, see, it didn't save the inventory. So even though we saved it after we got the health potion, it is only saving what's currently equipped in the item slot. So it's not saving any of the inventory. So we have to add the inventory save as well as... for slot 1-1 and 1-2, because a player could and does get the loot at the beginning of the game, but if they don't have it equipped and they save right now, they would just lose that loot. So we have to add this insertion to the grid once they open the loot. But here, like, we'll call this like loot obtain. I don't know. But we need to copy over the state of the item inventory. So this becomes tough. I mean, I guess the only thing we really have to worry about is, since we can't serialize a class object, we kind of have to say, hey, let's check at global item inventory slot 1, and oh, we crashed again, man. what do you want from me, man? Like, we're freaking hardwired into Ethernet. I pay $140 a month for this. I don't know what to do different. That's bad. We're dropping frames like a mofo. Wow. Okay. Well, dude, it's gonna run ads again. It's gonna run ads again for the 8th time in 30 minutes. That is so annoying. Yeah, I mean, if it crashes again, I'm probably just gonna have to record locally because I just can't deal with this. Yeah, we basically need to say, so like the way the inventory system works is it'll swap the currently equipped with something that's in the item inventory if you hit A on it. So we can't just say, you know, like the loot could be in grid 1-1 or it could be in 1-2. So what we need to do is save, we need to save both the first item inventory, like if it's not nil, meaning there's an item object inside of it, then we need to save both the type and the quantity into the appropriate grid's key for the save data. Then when we load it, if there is save data for it, then we need to populate the item inventory grid. We need to reinstantiate an item using the type of item, and then we need to modify the quantity once the item's there. Yeah, dude, it's I don't know what's happening. We're plugged into the Ethernet. We've got way fast internet that they overcharge me for. And we crash it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say I'd swap it down to like 720, but that never seems to help. It's just like a stability issue, not a bitrate bandwidth issue. Okay. So what we need to do is in our save player data. Okay, we need to basically check whether or not we need to save the inventory. So if there's no inventory, we don't need to save. So we basically, at least right here, you know, we say if this is in our equipped item, but not our inventory system. So this is like our equipped item. Yeah, it sucks. There's nothing worse than just an unstable stream, you know? It just feels bad all around. Okay. So I'm going to call this a key in the save data table called grid 1-1 or inventory grid 1-1. It looks like 11, but it is 1-1. And basically we only want to do this if there is an item stored at the grid. Where do we do this even? Like, we call this self grid. It is the inventory. So the 1-1 is a dot grid. It's a dot grid. Where is our save player? Okay, so we're gonna do this if our global item inventory dot grid index 1-1, and then we do another index to see if there's an item stored inside that table. So if that is not equal to nil, then there is an item in there, therefore we need to save it to our save data. So we would then save into our save data at index inventory grid 1 to be equal to whatever was in there. So whatever was in there needs to be just like this. We need to save. We need to basically save it as just a type, right? Because we need two things. We need the type. We need the type and the quantity. So grid 1 type and grid 1 quantity. So if there is an item in our inventory at the first quadrant there, then we're going to say, let's snag that type. So how we do that is just like this, where we say, well, .111 dot type is what we're saving in there. And this only gets kind of weird when we have to do the loading, because okay, so we save the inventory grid 1 type and quantity, if there is one, by the time we save. Then what we need to do is when we load, we're going to say, well, if there are these values, these keys, so we're going to say, well, if our key is equal to this inventory grid 1 type, then we're going to go, and this is where we need to initialize the item. So then we're going to say our item inventory is now going to have in the .grid at 1 it's going to actually have a table .insert, and we're going to insert into the grid an item instantiation, and the item instantiation takes in a type, which is the value that's stored at this key. So if we insert the item there, that takes care of the type. Then we need to, if we're inserting the type, we also need to set the quantity. So we'll say, okay, well, now that we've got an item in there, we'll go into the first, I don't know, that's not right, because we don't have access to the quantity because it's in the key. I guess what we could do is say this load is the table. That's what we're cycling through for these keys. So we can say this load variable, we can say load at index inventory, load at index inventory grid 1 quantity. This thing is going to store the quantity of the value. So like we need to say the quantity gets the value from this load table at the index of the quantity table. And then we don't have to do a double check. And we can probably do this too. I don't want to do too many different things at once, but this should work. We're putting the item inside the 1 grid, and then we're going into the item quantity and putting in the value that's stored at the load table's quantity table for that grid 1. So we only do that if we had a grid 1 type that we saved, that we serialized from the save data. So we don't have a loot. We don't have a loot equipped on 1. So I think what I want to do, we want to give our game a chance to see if this works. So what we need to do is to get an item slot that isn't a loot into grid 1-1, and then we can see if this is working. Okay, so we have no item to copy, so we can't test this. And we can't put the loot back there. So let's try to go up and get the health potion, and then we'll see if we can save with an inventory slot in 1-1 of and you know what? It won't be in 1-1, it'll be in 1-2. Because the health potion is hard-coded to go save into 1-2 in the inventory. So, see how it's in 1-2 now? Okay, so we can't... Shoot. Okay, so I think what we'll do... Dude, freaking crashing, man. Okay, we'll go back to the loot. What do we call it? I already forgot. Loot. Obtain. Okay, we're going to put in the loot here into this table. So we've got one there. So now the question is, can we overwrite? Shoot, man. This is... we don't want to do this here. I think what we want to do for right now in the play state, let's just do this thing where we'll say if love.keyboard was pressed, we'll just do E, then we want to insert the item loot, because we can't have it just always inserting in there because it'll be jacked up. So we don't have it here, but if we hit E in the play state, it needs to be not at the self grid. Where did we pull this from, man? G item inventory grid. Okay, so let's try it. Okay, there's nothing there. If we hit E, we've got it equipped in there. Okay, so now if we reload the game, it should... Actually, we can test it now because now we've got an item in there. So let's test. If we load the game, if we save the game, and then we try to reload, let's see if item slot 1 got copied over. It was. Okay. It seemingly got copied over. So let's try the same for the magic potion, and then what we'll do is we'll use some magic potions and then hopefully save the inventory system with it not equipped, but only having like 3 potions or something, and see if we can save and load the proper inventory for the health potion. Let's see. So what we need to do is go to save player data, and we need to do this thing for the next grid. So we'll say if grid 1-2 index 1 has an item in it, then we want to go grid 1-2 type and grid 1-2 quantity tables in our save data table, and we want to pull the type from the active item that's in the grid, in the item inventory at slot 1, 2. First row, top row, second column. So if there is an item in there, we're going to save it into grid 1 and 2 type and quantity into our save data. Then when we load, we're going to do this where we say, well, if we have an inventory grid 1, 2 type saved, then we're going to table.insert into our grid 1, 2 the item instantiation of the v of the value. This is the parameter of the item type that the item class needs to know what to render. And then we set the quantity of that item to be equal to the load table's grid 1, 2 quantity. So after it gets instantiated, we set the quantity just like that. So let's see. I do want to see when we do a health potion use, just so we can speed up this process just a bit. I'm going to say that we're going to set our health potion to actually give us only 2 hearts so that we can use a couple and test this. So we have this item slot of a loot equipped. What happens if we try to equip the loot once it's here? Okay. I think that'll get fixed once we get a health potion. Ideally, we don't insert that loot until we actually get the loot from the opening cinematic. Okay, so let's try. Okay, we got a health potion. We've got a health potion. We're gonna equip it. Oh no. We do got 2 loots. Yeah, this is okay. I mean, so what we want to try is just see if this works. So we're gonna load. We're gonna use a health potion, and then we can use it. We've only got 4. So we've got 4 health potions. So let's try to equip a loot. And we'll see if we can save it at this point, as long as we don't die. We're going to save our game and see if it copies over the inventory system. Okay, meditate. We're going to load our game and see if we've got 4 health potions in our item 1, 2 slot. Yo, dude. Okay, this is good. The double loot I'm not worried about. It's just a byproduct of saving a loot and then having it not equipped, so I'm not worried about that. It's just the save data that is jacked up. Right now we have to hit E to get a loot, which isn't great. But if the player plays it properly, it should work. Yeah. I guess what we could do for right now is we can say if E is pressed, we're just gonna flush our... Dude, it is getting there. I thought this was gonna take a lot longer. It's not great once we get more items in there. It's kind of a nasty process to just go one by one and just say copy over the type and quantity, but it's not that bad. But for right now, let's just say that we're gonna flush our equip here so that we can hopefully get rid of the loot so that we can save it with a more proper value in there. So if we hit E, we should flush it. Nice. So now this is what it is really going to look like. We don't really have a way to unequip a item slot. I guess what we could do, because right now, once we hit A, see, okay, yeah, it gets more complicated, because if we were to say, for example, right now, the equipped item slot only changes if you hit A button on an actual item in the inventory. So if you hit it there, it'll actually swap, but only if you hit it on an item that's in there. Because if we hit it where, for example, if we wanted to unequip our loot by hitting the empty space right here, then we'd have to place the loot into this slot and swap it with an empty item, essentially, which we totally can do, but that means we still have to save and load. Yeah. Sorry, dude. Dude, we've crashed like 20 times today. It's been a nightmare. I don't know what to do, man. We can't, yeah. So right now there's no way of unequipping items. Yeah, there's no way of unequipping items, which, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Because select, well, let's see, start pulls up that. Oh, we can make select be unequip item. But then the issue becomes, if we unequip item, we have to take it from the equipped slot to the empty slot either. Oh yeah, I guess it would be, because if we wanted to unequip the health potion, we would place it. Would we place it in slot 1 or slot 2 here? Yeah. Sorry for the crashes, man. I don't know what's going on. It's been terrible today. I got a freaking... I don't know what's wrong. We're really close. This is good. I think I do want to unequip item. Right now, select doesn't do anything in the title screen. So maybe we can make select be de-equip item. So maybe we can just try to do that. Let's try to do, let's go to our soundtrack debug, just turn that off. Where do we even have this, man? Is it in our main? Yes. Okay. Dude, no, we're snoozing ads. It's been freaking 8 times. Okay. So yeah, let's try to do this. Let's go to the item inventory state and we'll try to hit, see how it loaded. It loaded an item inventory that was there. Okay, so if we save now it shouldn't have that double loot in there. Nice. Okay. This is cool, man. The saving and loading is really cool. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Actually, I think I want to commit now before we get too much further. We didn't do much, but we do save and load for the inventory system, which is very useful. So let's just say okay. Now we want to go into what's called the pause state, which should be called inventory state. But if it's inventory state, we don't have select being anything. So we can say if select is pressed, just want to make sure that is the right key for it. My God. Yes, select. Okay. If select is pressed, we want to see if there's a thing currently equipped because we're trying to de-equip it. So we're going to say if the global item inventory, it's actually the G player item inventory slot. It's the, oh, it is the item inventory item slot. Basically, we're saying if there is an item inside our equipped thing, so if this does not equal nil, then we're going to unequip it. So we're going to just say, let's just try saying that the item slot at index 1 becomes nil. That'll effectively delete it, but it won't swap it. So let's just see if that works. Okay, we've got dilute, but we want to de-equip it. We hit select, and it does become unequipped. So let's now, instead of just saying it gets nil, we have to copy it over into the empty item slot, because it could be an empty item slot on grid 1-1 or 1-2. Actually, yes, because if we can put it back, then the first thing you equip will be the empty slot. So we don't know which slot it can go into. So we have to check for the first available empty slot and put it there. So before, you know, if there is an item equipped, we're going to cycle through, I guess we can cycle through, you know, ideally we'd want to do like a loop instead of just like a for loop, but more like a while loop. But anytime I do a while loop in game dev, it just breaks everything, so I'm not doing that. We're just going to say if the global item inventory dot grid index 1 1 1 is nil, then we want to put it there. We know that much. So we say we're just going to say, okay, well, select is pressed, so we need to copy the global item inventory item slot object, which is the first one, and put it into the slot here. So if, yeah, we need to do a table.insert. So we would say table.insert, and we want to insert, is it list value, list position value. So the list is the item inventory grid at 1 1 2D array, and the value is the object, the item object that's inside the activated item slot. So this should put the equipped item into the empty slot, because we know it's empty because we're asking if it's nil here. And then we nullify the item slot. So it should have the effect of unequipping our item. Nice. Yes. So now we just need to do for the other one, because once it was equipped, we copied over. I would have thought that the health potion would have gone into the grid 1-1, but it actually just did a table.insert. It didn't do a table clear. So it probably just put another value in there. It didn't clear it out. So, let's see, because item slot was not nil because we had health potion equipped. Grid 1-1 should have been. Oh, yeah, grid 1-1 wasn't nil, so it didn't do anything. So we can say else if we want to see if the grid 1-2 is nil. Because if there's no object in the second one, then we want to do the same thing, except insert it into grid 1-2, and then unequip it from the item. Sorry, Cavictus, dude. It's awful. As soon as the freaking ads start, dude. Okay. Equipped. Select. Equip. Select. Equip. Select. Great. We can swap? Dude, I know. It's terrible. I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. We're hardwired in. I mean, I can just restart the modem, restart the computer. The good news is